Let's see. Good afternoon and good evening to many of you. I believe we are live on YouTube. We are live on Instagram. Now let's just make sure that we are also live on Twitter. Are we live on Twitter? We are live on Twitter. Let's go. I'm just going to make a little post about it so everyone sees. What is happening in the markets right now? How war affects Web3, traditional markets. Typing up the little caption. Historically, and what we can expect looking forward. Past halving, Bitcoin halving, and we post. Okay. Yeah. Sweet. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Good evening to many of you. Good night to a lot of you right now hearing the news and seeing red everywhere you look. It must be crazy if you had, if you don't know what's going on. We're going to see this same reaction probably Monday too with the traditional markets and like the knee-jerk reaction that the markets and people are having in general to something like a geopolitical event like this right now. Now, I want to start off today's conversation by saying, hey, this OSIS is not here to talk politics. We're not here to say who's right and who's wrong and who's doing good and who's doing bad. This conversation has nothing to do with that. Today, we are simply speaking on what is going on if we look at the markets. How does that affect OSIS? How does that affect Bitcoin? How does it affect our lives from the perspective of people who are participants in the market? And what can we do and what we can expect looking forward, okay? Now, part of this, we're going to jump into looking at things historically. We're going to look at the facts because history tends to repeat itself. Something very similar to what's happening today happened in October 2023 when the conflict really made it into like the media between the two countries. I'm not going to mention any names. Everyone can Google that for themselves. But conflict started very recently and made headlines all over the place. It was crazy in October 2023. We're going to look at what happened historically. We can consider this history repeating itself. The conditions in both of these scenarios is very, very similar. So we're going to start by looking at history and base some of our expectations, future expectations based on history. At the same time, for those of you who don't know what's going on, in the past 2 days, you've seen the market go red. You've seen everything kind of like down, down, down. You've seen OSIS, you've seen Bitcoin, you've seen Ethereum lost like 15, 20% in like hours. And a lot of people might be asking like, wait, what's going on right now? Well, there are two major reasons that this is happening. Both of them have to do with market sentiment. Both of them have to do with people having a knee-jerk reaction. The first reason, which is actually something that happens every single cycle, every time there's a Bitcoin halving, party balloons. Every time there's a Bitcoin halving, we see a market pullback. We see people just start to sell off a little bit. This happens every single year. A lot of like bigger firms, a lot of companies, they're risk averse. They're afraid of volatility. So when a halving occurs, a lot of people pull out their positions. Many different investors, especially larger ones, have positions where they have margin. They use margin where they're actually invested. They're leveraging way more than what they have. For example, they might have like $1 million, but they're borrowing 9 million so that they can buy 10 million of Bitcoin. These characters, these individuals, and these companies, they tend to pull out in times where they're expecting volatility. Okay, does that make sense? Bitcoin halving can be a volatile time. In every single scenario ever, the price ultimately goes up, but sometimes it takes a few weeks. Sometimes it's taken a month. Sometimes what happens is the price goes down, like what we're seeing today. The price goes down and it stays down lower than people are comfortable, especially those people who are borrowing money to buy Bitcoin. So rather than kind of letting the market take them where the market wants to, these big positions and these big players, what turns out to be like $600+ million in Bitcoin, they tend to pull out temporarily and wait for things to settle, and then they get back in when the market moves up with the Bitcoin halving. So this is something that happens every single cycle, and by cycle I mean every time Bitcoin halves. So every 4 years. There's a pullback, market correction. A lot of people who are very savvy, they buy in and take their positions at that low, like right this minute. And then what happens after the halving, sometimes like Bitcoin mining companies, these companies in China, in the US, all over the place, they tend to sell a lot because of so much trading volume. They just mined a bunch of Bitcoin. So they tend to sell, and sometimes that pushes price lower, and that causes a lot of volatility. So that's reason number one. People pull out of the market temporarily. This is what we saw in the last couple of days. This actually greatly affected it. OSIS and many other, well, basically every single other altcoin and major coin in the market in the last few days. It's crazy timing, really. And the other interesting thing is that OSIS actually moves in lockstep with Bitcoin, just like a lot of other projects do. I'll show you guys what it looks like. If we go to coingecko.com, look at OSIS in the last month, and you pull this up. All right, check this out, everybody. So this chart right here is OSIS compared with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the orange, OSIS is the blue. As you can see, we are very, very similar to Bitcoin. And really, Bitcoin is like the main, it dictates what the market is doing. If we're in a bullish period, it's bullish. Bitcoin is bullish. Basically, every other project is very bullish. If suddenly there's a bearish downturn, like in the last week, basically, you're going to see like every single project drop along with Bitcoin. And this is exactly what we're seeing today. There's a second reason that we've seen market sell-offs all over the place, why we're seeing red. Now, what I want to assure everyone here, it's okay, cool down. This current moment, excuse me, this moment in time is going to pass. This is a knee-jerk reaction to the market. This is basically a consensus of a lot of people being like, one, I'm uncertain what's happening in the world, right? There's a war, there's something going on. They don't know how that's going to affect them. So people are like, oh, I'm going to pull out immediately. Well, a lot of people do it in a panic, just in case, I don't know, whatever happens. A lot of people aren't really even thinking about the situation. They're just like, oh, I'm just going to pull out, and I'm going to wait until things cool down and things settle down. These same people are having similar thoughts as the people who were like highly leveraged buying Bitcoin on margin pre-halving, but these people are more like professional traders that have planned for that. Like this pre-halving sell-off, those guys planned for it. What's going on right now with the second reason here being war, it's general uncertainty now hitting retail investors. By retail investors, I mean just regular people, you, me, and everybody else. People are like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen next. Is it going to be a war? Is it World War III? What's going on? Is the whole world going to burn? So there's a lot of FUD, and it's very emotional, and like everybody knows, emotions and emotional trading is like the enemy of like the market and a healthy stock market in general. So both the stock market, the crypto markets, and really any financial market gets affected by this like global phenomenon of people feeling very emotional, very volatile, and so you see it in the markets. But in general, most people tend to pull out at times like this. The same thing happened. We got a we had a similar situation happen in, let's see, where's the week of this week, the week of October 9th. 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 9th Can you guys see this chart? Let's see. Sweet. Okay, October 9th, similar thing happened. This was war times right here. Everyone got the notification that war is going on. People were feeling uncertain. You can see this wick went all the way down to 26. So there was a slight sell-off here. A bunch of people panicked when they saw the news that these two states are going to war. But what happened right after? Well, the market in general was in a bullish sentiment. This was late 2023 when everything was turning was bullish in general. Everything was like we were shifting from a bearish market from the last year and a half, from 2022 to 2023, in this time into a bullish market. And imagine this is us today. This is one full week. And I could actually pull this back in days so you can see what it looks like in days. You can see like the news came out and people freaked out. Let's zoom this out. When you zoom things out, you start to see that like, oh, things are actually pretty decent. But let's look at historically what happened when news of war came out. So these were all times where news, like war news, were coming out. If we go back to October, that's when this stuff really initially hit the market. Okay. So right here, this week, people heard about war and there was market sell-offs. We're seeing, quite a bit of Bitcoin just dying off every single day. This is hundreds of millions of dollars. 37,000 Bitcoin today, sold off 22,000 the day before. This was actually the day that things went really public between the the current war and what you're seeing in the news right now. In October, it was October 8th, 9th, that the news was public and people were dying and whatever, all this crazy stuff was happening. So people sold off. This is what they did. It was 1 day, 2 day, 3 days of sell-offs that it dropped a decent amount, it dropped several percent. But then people remembered that, hey, we are in a bull market. And this is what happened a few days later. It just took a little while for people to cool down, to calm down, and to realize the world is not ending, but there is a conflict. There's a conflict. It's serious. People just wanted to step out, take a breather, cool down, take a cold shower, and see the dust settle. And then a few days later, they were right back to it. They were right back to pumping. And what happened next is we saw a serious pump through October into November, into December, into look at that go. Look at this go. I just saw the charts go from 25K to 40 something thousand in a matter of 2 months heading into the bull market. And all of this that you're seeing is all just preparation. Look, over here was when war was announced. And this is what happened after. All of this stuff happening after was in preparation for what's happening now. So if we're zooming in, this is February. Between February and March, over $1 trillion was added into the Web3 space. This is the time when the Bitcoin ETFs were announced. As of Monday, Hong Kong is expecting to announce an ETF for Bitcoin as well in Hong Kong stock market, which is a really big. The US is huge. Hong Kong is huge. These are two major markets. The moment the Bitcoin ETFs were publicly announced and accepted and approved, a lot of money, literally $1 trillion, came into the entire crypto space. And this is the result. Like you're seeing this jumped to this. So we went from what, 40,000 to literally 70,000 in a matter of 1 month and a half. We got to look at like bigger macroeconomics. We have several very, very bullish things that are happening. By bullish, I mean very positive things, indicators that are expected to move the market upwards at a time like this. I'm talking about these things in relation to the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that comes with war. Okay, we saw war announcements in October. What happened after October? People remembered the Bitcoin halving is coming up, and they pumped. and they pump and they saw the news. Now institutional investors are putting money into Bitcoin. A lot of these people are scared people, so they're the same ones that actually sold off in the last couple of days. They are new to the markets. They haven't been through cycles like you and like myself and like OSIS, which has gone through like 2 cycles before and held strong the entire time. Now, these same guys who came in and like these institutional investors that bought the Bitcoin ETF, which was upwards of $100 billion that they put into the market themselves, one of the major reasons that the market's pushed up significantly higher in the last month. These same ETF guys are going to wait for the dust to settle and they're going to buy again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to cause like the next major pump from the Bitcoin halving. This is a temporary reaction. The price action that you're seeing in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, in OSIS it's just right this minute. So don't freak out, cool down, take a cold shower. Don't even hold your breath. Take some nice deep breaths and get calm and relax and watch just like everyone else is watching. If you're smart, a lot of people say, hey, when things like this happen, it's a perfect time to buy, especially like this is a serious dip. A lot of smart and savvy people are buying this dip. A lot of like the OG Bitcoin maximalists. I can almost bet you that someone like Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy is probably buying the dip. I mean, today we saw a lot of people buy this dip right here. Look at that. They bought it from around 60K, and now a lot of these people are up to 65K, and a lot of these people are going to go much higher after this. The Bitcoin halving is still happening. That event has never, ever done anything but take Bitcoin to a much higher high. In all of history, we've had several halving events. It is the most bullish thing that can happen to Bitcoin that we've ever seen. That is not going away. Even if there is a war, that is not going away. The reality that this Bitcoin itself, representing the entire industry, is a store of value. This is something that people put their money into in times of uncertainty, including big institutions now. They can hold gold or they can hold Bitcoin, and they're holding both. People are starting to take some money out of here and they're buying a tokenized asset like Bitcoin. People are going to be putting a lot more money into the crypto market in the like the near future as well. The Ethereum ETF is in the process of being approved in the US as well as in other countries around the world. Hey, that's another invitation to institutional investors to come in and bring stability into the price and bring growth immediately to the price. So I'm on here today to let y'all know the market is down. It's not the end of the world. Anyone that's been here for more than a year knows that this kind of activity, although it's not normal, it's not abnormal. It's not common, but it's not uncommon. We've seen this hundreds of times in the past few years. Some kind of news comes out in the public and people get scared and they sell. A lot of smart people buy the dip. That's just the law of life. And so once the uncertainty settles after a few days, maybe it might take a week, maybe it might take a few weeks. I don't have a crystal ball to tell you when exactly it's going to go back up or what's going to happen. And this is not financial advice. Everyone, please pull up the chart, do your own research, get on the news and see what's going on, because that's what everyone else is doing. When you see, for example, the charts equalize, like you're going to see OSIS, you're going to see Bitcoin, you're going to see Ethereum, all these different currencies, you're going to see them kind of balance out when people are like, oh, is the coast clear? It's not going to get any crazier. And people are going to go boom, 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 boom. You're going to see the buy button get hit in every direction. That's just how things go. Now, I see that Maxime says, I think the market will stabilize this upcoming Monday because a lot of companies will start a new trading week and a lot of assets are at an optimal buying point before the Bitcoin halving. You're I mean, you're probably right. Honestly, we might see like a couple of weeks of correction and waiting for things to cool down. But crypto really moves much faster. Like the tokenized Web3 blockchain space moves so much faster, recovers faster, grows faster, crashes faster than any other market. And that's why so many institutional investors and like older people, Wall Street is a little bit afraid of it. That's why they pull out. That's why there's like a culture of these old institutional traditional investors. That's why they culturally they have like a they all just pull out, a ritual of pulling out and causing the price to just drop a little bit before Bitcoin halving every time. whereas other companies will just jump in and start to buy. A lot of like hedge funds and more savvy investors that are like more trader minded are doing exactly that. Like what you're saying, everything's at a discount on Monday. OSIS right now is very, very oversold. Like anybody that's getting OSIS right now is getting it at like an extreme discount. There was a there's a dude in our community, his username's Shifty. He put $40 in when it first crashed on like the day one of Bitmart, and it fell from the listing price of 50 cents to 30 cents. Okay. Shifty bought $40 in OSIS at like 30 cents. And then a week later, lo and behold, OSIS is at $3.50 and he sold. And then the next thing he did when the price corrected from $3 down to like $1.50-ish, he bought again. And the next thing you know, OSIS hit over $5 at an all-time high. Dude made like 8 grand from $40. And now that it corrected, he is back in position with more OSIS than ever. Now that is like a pure trader. Like that person is a trader, but trader as in TRADER. Okay. He knows how the market ebbs and flows and things naturally move up and down. This is something that we've been expecting and understanding since before we even listed. We know that the market is volatile and it can get crazy. And this is why I'm here right now to speak with everyone and be like, hey, don't worry, cool down. The world is not ending. OSIS is not a today, tomorrow, gone the next day project. This is a 10 plus year plan and mission that we are executing day in and day out. Just like a person who bought Bitcoin in the early days, like 2011, and they saw it go to $100 and back down to 20 and they got super scared and got out. Imagine being that person, not realizing that, hey, OSIS or Bitcoin and OSIS is not just some temporary thing that's for fun or a joke or a meme or whatever. It's like, hey, Bitcoin is going to stick around whether you like it or not. The same way the sun will rise tomorrow and warm the planet and sustain life, the same way Bitcoin will rise tomorrow and people will use it and people will gain value from it and utility from it. That's the key, where OSIS is bringing utility to the market. The tokenized world is not going anywhere, war or not. Tokenization, digitization, the world becoming more digital from a financial perspective, but even from a service, product, and utility perspective, the world will become more tokenized as we go forward. Everything is becoming software, everything is becoming digital. Okay, think about it like this. I'm using a word, tokenization. Really, what I mean is digitization. We've seen in the last 20 years, most of you here have been alive to witness the entire journey from no computers and no internet to where we're at today. Okay. Everyone, put your hand up if you think that the world is being digitized right now. Put your hand up if you think that the world will continue to become more digitized, that the internet will grow and expand. I see a hand up right here. That is what's happening. And Web3 and blockchain is just the next stage of it. That is the stage that we're going to see mature over the next 5-10 years. We've seen the internet of information mature. It's very easy to get information now. It's very fast. We have lots of interactive websites. You can Google any piece of information in seconds and get the answer, okay? Now we're seeing that internet expand from just being information to now being value and ownership and monetization on chain, on the web. We say chain because we know it's the blockchain. That's the infrastructure. That is the network infrastructure. But really, I mean, on the internet is growing. Tokenization is the process of the internet's evolution into Web3. We're in Web 2, Web 3. OSIS is right here at the transition, building the infrastructure for the transition, along with Bitcoin, which has created the standard. Bitcoin is the standard of finance and like value held on the web. It is the currency of the internet, of the people. Ethereum has built the infrastructure for people to code and execute code and build on the internet, on the blockchain, to create applications on the blockchain. OSIS is taking both of these things and packaging it in a way for every individual and person to now get into the space. So far, it's been major companies and really technical people, early adopters who are building in the space. But we're like, hey, let's make this available to anybody and everybody. The same way Shopify allowed people to come and build the e-commerce industry. Brick and mortar is dead. That's the reality. Thousands and thousands of Costco's and Sears and department stores have disappeared off the face of the earth because of that transition onto the web, that digitization. But the market has grown significantly. Amazon marketplace has grown significantly. This is history repeating itself, okay? This is history repeating itself. When Shopify came in, OSIS is just like Shopify. When Shopify came in and said, hey, things are going to grow on the internet. Okay, the future of commerce is on the internet. Shopify came in and said, let's make that easy for individuals, for everyday people, business-minded people, just like Amazon was thinking. Both of them were thinking this. Shopify and Amazon. They're like, let's make it easy for people to come in. Bam! Now you see a multi-billion dollar industry that is e-commerce appear on the internet, and it has changed millions of, well, billions of lives, because now most of us shop on the web. That same thing is happening in Web3 for people to build in the blockchain, build real applications, build real products and services, and tokenize, and to create assets that are valuable, that represent your people's brands and businesses and everything. That is happening, and OSIS is just like Amazon, is just like Shopify, but it's for Web3, bringing people onto Web3. I'm trying to explain this to give people like a visual and understanding. There was a lot of times early on in the internet's existence and history that people were like, oh no, that's gonna die. The dot-com boom is it's a bubble, the dot-com bubble, when especially when the year 2000 rolled around and there was like a market crash. A lot of people laughed at Jeff Bezos and the people who made Google, like Larry Page and all these guys. All a lot of people just didn't believe that the internet was going to become what it is today. Really, a lot of people, 99% of people had no idea it would become this. But here we are sitting right here in this market, building the infrastructure for that same thing, that same cycle to happen when the world, for example, commerce, buying and selling products came onto the internet. And now we have e-commerce stores and we have online shopping, okay? That same thing is going to happen to things like the housing industry. Web3 is now to bring things like old real world assets onto the internet. Imagine the entire housing market internationally, which is hundreds of trillions of dollars, is now on chain and anybody can invest into it. That is the kind of infrastructure that we are building. OSIS is building for the space to transition the rest of the world in a financial and monetary way into the internet. We are digitizing that. So remember that, like, this is not a temporary a temporary thing. Like, the project is not a here today, gone tomorrow. We're building that infrastructure. We're building the future. And when you see things like, market sell off and some people are scared and panicking and they're getting out, 99% of these people really don't know what it is that we're building. They haven't taken the time yet to dive in and understand. And if that includes you, if you didn't know what I'm talking about right now, because I know to half of the people watching, what I'm saying is like, oh, we know that. Yeah. I've been telling people. That's how a lot of people feel. Juan's sitting here like, oh yeah, I know all this stuff. And that's why he's so confident. If anybody talks to him, he's like the most confident person in the world when it comes to what we're doing. And that results in a sense of confidence in peace, no stress, in focus and vision, and long-term big picture vision. Imagine yourself investing into Amazon in 1998 when it's like pennies, and you could see the big picture of this market, and you can see that, oh, Amazon looks like it's poised to be one of the biggest players in this market, that is the digitization of products and commerce and business moving online. Would you be so stressed out if you could take a step back and learn and get educated? I don't think so. I know I wouldn't be. I know Juan wouldn't be. He has vision. He has future vision. And so that's what we want to bring to everybody too, not just for OSIS, but I mean for the whole market, like the entire market. Just because there's a sell-off, there's a crash, do not panic. The winners are always the people who hold and have patience in like everything in life. Of course, like if you have put yourself in a position where you are overstretched and you put in more money into the market than you should have, please, by all means, take care of your family first. That is extremely important. Nobody should ever invest more than they can afford to lose. That's the key word. If you can put that in and it's not stressing you out and you're not staring at the at the charts every 2 seconds on a 5 minute timer, yeah, bring yourself some peace. One way to do that is to educate yourself about OSIS specifically, educate yourself about the whole market and blockchain and tokenization and Web3 as a big picture, because we're all in this together. Bitcoin going up post halving, it's going to blow up. OSIS is going to do the same thing. That's what I'm seeing because I know I'm the one building it, of course, but I know what we're doing and I know what we're going to do and I know what kind of results that is going to bring. And the more you guys educate yourselves, the more you're going to understand. It doesn't matter if OSIS or Bitcoin drop 99%, it's going up. It will prevail because the world needs these things. It is utility. It is a necessity for the entire world to evolve and move forward. The world does not regress in that sense. Technology will move forward in order to like improve and evolve, just the same way the entire universe is always evolving and moving forward and becoming better, fuller, and more complete. The world is not complete without this aspect of the internet, which has become an integral part of our lives and experience, being complete. And we are in the process of completing that picture. So don't worry, don't stress. Be like Michael Saylor, who says, doesn't matter if Bitcoin is any price. If it's at the top, I'm buying. If it's at the bottom, I'm buying. That's how Michael Saylor feels. If you guys don't know Michael Saylor, look him up. He's like the OG Bitcoin maximalist. He's holding like several $billion of Bitcoin in a hedge fund. And when I heard him say that, I was like, oh, dude, you like, that's exactly how I feel. It's not about buying, it's about sentiment. I am eternally bullish on what we're doing right now because I understand that what we're doing is absolutely necessary. And not only that, it's absolutely inevitable. Okay. The same way the sun will come up tomorrow, the internet will evolve. Tokenization is happening, will happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And we are here poised in position to deliver that as one of the projects in the sector, in the world. We are riding that wave up and we are evolving with like life in the world. So, so like I said, everybody cool down, cool down. It's all good. Everything is fine. I don't care about what the price is. I don't care about what the market is doing. And if it's tripping out, it's totally fine. Like a phoenix, the entire market will rise from whatever ashes. And there's going to be a lot of people who are confident and relaxed in times like this that are going to pick up some more of whatever. They're going to pick up some more Bitcoin. They're going to pick up some more OSIS. They're going to pick up more Ethereum because they know that in like a few weeks time, or it doesn't even matter how long, they're going to know that it will recover and it will evolve and it will grow because that's what we do. We are resilient and we are riding the time, the what do you call this? The winds of fate. That's how I feel personally. It's a mission and it's our calling. And I'm proud to be on this journey with all of you. All of you. And I'm excited to meet a lot more of you in the coming weeks and months. I met Maxime today, Maxime Dior. I also met honestly, I don't know how to say your name, brother, but it's Roof Diertier. I don't know how, I probably butchered that, but I'm meeting a lot of other people and I'm happy to meet all of you. I'm seeing lots of people on the Twitter side. What's going on Twitter? 39 people. The market's going crazy. We don't care. The market will heal and it will grow and it will outdo itself. And we're going to look back and we're going to laugh and be like, wow, that was a crazy time. Haha. But we're up now and we're good. And we're in a different place. How are you going to let this moment define you? Are you going to be scared? Are you going to be worried? Or are you going to slow down and think and study and learn and look at history and look at cycles and see what happened in the past. Well, hey, we already established that on October 9th, the same thing happened. We heard of war in the Middle East and there was a sell-off. And the next thing you know, a couple weeks later, we're right back up at a higher high than ever before. So the winners are the ones who are educated and that stay calm and patient and probably buy the dip. A lot of the losers end up like freaking out and selling at a time like this, and then they end up buying at the at a higher high than ever before and missing out on things. But hey, even if that's you, that's okay, as long as you're a part of this movement and that you're here. And these lessons are going to be learned. This is the first time for a lot of different people, a lot of people who are just getting into the market. This is the first time they've experienced anything like this. We've experienced it tons of times before. Sudden market scare, people get that knee-jerk reaction and sell. And and a lot of us, we get in a better position. We buy the dip and we all long-term win. Anybody, here's a fact. Here's a fun fact that I learned the other day, and actually I studied this too. Anybody that has bought and held Bitcoin, okay, for 5 years at any point in time, take any 5-year window, anybody that has bought and held Bitcoin in 5 years has either broke even or made a profit. Nobody has ever lost by holding Bitcoin over a 5-year period. Okay. Isn't that interesting? Doesn't that tell you something about the market? Doesn't that tell you something about the future? Okay. The future, where we are headed, what this evolution of the internet is. Would anyone here bet against the internet? I think, and by the internet, I mean the growth of the internet. Does anyone here bet that we are going to regress and become less technologically advanced over the next 5 years? If anyone's betting against us growing more technologically advanced in the next 5 years, I will take you up on your bet and I will go all in against you personally, because no way in hell we are going to technologically regress in the next 5, 10, 20. Doesn't matter what time period that you look at. And that's exactly what Bitcoin, that's exactly what OSIS, and that's exactly what the like Web3 market is doing. It is technological progression. It is the way of life. It is natural. And like short little brief scares like today and what's going on in the market don't really matter in the big picture of things. Yes, in the short run, yes, of course. We see and we feel it and we see red and we feel like everyone feels scared and stuff. But I'm telling y'all, take a moment to study, speak to each other, cool down. If you need to take your money out, take your money out. That doesn't matter. Um, and study and get knowledge and get in a position where you feel comfortable and confident, just like I feel and just like a lot of other people feel who are just holding and just chilling. Same people who are holding from day one. People in OSIS right now, some people are freaking out. Oh, OSIS is down. A lot of like 99% of our community and people who bought in are still up 100% plus. Everyone's already doubled their money and then some. Everyone 10x their money in the past few weeks. Bitcoin halving is in a week. No one's tripping. Uh, I'm just reading comments here, taking a moment to check it out here before we wrap this up. There's so much action going on. I'm seeing comments all over the place. Twitter's got 40 plus viewers. I'm gonna look in the chat here. That's so funny, Juan. You should be a motivational speaker. I'm pumped now. Hey, I'm pumped too. I'm pumping myself up. But it's the truth. That's what's going on. It is literally like the universal truth. Progress does not stop. Progress doesn't wait. Evolution does not wait for us to feel cheery and in a good mood. Nah, we're gonna evolve through the bad times and the good times. That's what happens. And the internet growing and the blockchain growing and Bitcoin growing and OSIS growing is just a natural result of that evolution. Whether we feel great or we feel bad, we are going to move through and grow. That is what's happening. Tony Robbins, eat your heart out. That's super funny. Well, hey, everybody, jump into the OSIS Discord. For those of you, or the Telegram, for those of you blah, blah. For those of you who are on Twitter watching this right now, hi, my name is Jalal Ibrahimi. I'm one of the co-founders of OSIS. Jump into the Twitter, sorry, jump into the Telegram and jump into the Discord, especially if you guys want to have a conversation on this. I know it's a hot topic, and if anybody's stressed out, hey, come into the group, speak to the community. There's a lot of really knowledgeable people. It's not just me. If anything, I feel like there's way more knowledgeable people in our community, some expert traders, some that are like just have been through the crypto ups and downs for the last several years that know exactly what's going on right now and that can fill you in and help you understand, hey, what's going on and how best can I position myself where I'm not only safe, but I feel assured and cool and get the education that you need to know what's going on. It's a crazy time, I understand. You look at the news and it's crazy. Well, the news is always crazy. You look at the market and it's all red and it's crazy, but hey, there's a reason for it. And when you understand the reason, it's no longer the boogeyman that's scaring you and other people anymore. So jump into the communities, guys, and have a conversation. Communication makes the world go round and it'll help you feel much better. I, for one, am feeling fantastic. I am flying out to Dubai. I'm probably going to meet a few people who are kind of upset, but for the most part, the crypto industry and people are chilling. We know the Bitcoin halvings are around the corner. We know that regardless of sentiment and what's going on out there in the world, that the market will improve and it will be healthy. And like we honestly, as OSIS, we don't even care too much about that part of things because we know, like I said earlier, we are the natural progression. We are getting ready to actually release several products over the next month that will be huge. That it doesn't matter what the market is feeling like because utility trumps emotions. Like just because the world is at war doesn't mean people are going to stop using DocuSign, for example. People are not going to stop using Facebook. People are not going to stop using things that are tools and utilities that help them in their daily life. And those companies are never going to be in a position. So that's exactly where we're positioning ourselves as OSIS, as we bring more and more products and utility and value to the world, to our community, to everybody in general, and move us along in this progression and evolution of the internet, of digitization. So that's where we're at. The marketing plan, I know somebody asked about the marketing plan. We have a huge marketing plan. We got over 100 different influencers, key opinion leaders that are working with us. I am currently cooking up some crazy partnerships. Y'all have no idea. When I say you have no idea, you're going to be surprised. I promise you're going to be surprised. And it's a really good surprise. Our partner Master Blocks, they basically know everybody in the space, have introduced us to some huge players in Web3. Our chief strategy officer is currently in the process of introducing us to huge players in like Web1 before the internet world, big companies that you guys have heard of and probably use their products every single day because OSIS is building utility. OSIS is helping companies, businesses, and individuals get into the tokenized Web3 space. We are moving ahead regardless of what the market feels like. We do not care. Just like the sun rises every single day and doesn't care what the weather is like, we will rise and we will continue. Hey, this is not a meme coin. We don't depend on or need hype. We barely did any marketing in the last month and OSIS went 11x. Guys, we barely did any marketing in the last month. How much marketing did you guys see? How many, how many newspaper articles did we put out? Zero. How many ads and commercials and whatever? Zero. It was based on the fact that this is a solid utility project and the fact that we're educating people and the fact that it is valuable. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for the future. I like being in a position of knowledge and I'm fortunate to have a lot of like really knowledgeable, wise people around me that have been through this for like the last 10 years that have shown me the way and the history of the cycles and what we can expect going forward. And I'm really happy that I can share that with everyone here because y'all are like my family, the community. And please, everyone, if you encounter one of your friends or family members or someone stressing about the markets and because they're seeing red or they invested into OSIS and they're like, oh no, it's down, help them understand and be like, hey, cool down. This is a small little brief moment in time, and we're going to be moving on from this very, very soon. Whether it's today, whether it's next week, and whether it's next month, Doesn't matter. The sun will still rise the next day. Evolution still exists. OSIS is moving forward no matter what. So thank you so much for your time today. I hope that kind of helped people like get some perspective and understand and cool down, because I know that it's difficult, especially when everyone's freaking out. I know it's difficult. It touches every single one of us when everyone's freaking out. We're social creatures, but at the same time, when we put ourselves in a position of education and objective perspective, it's really easy to cool down. And honestly, I hope you guys go and do some more research. Check out the white paper. I'm actually about to post today. I'm going to do it literally right after this call. We have a new white paper. It's been updated since we've listed, and a new pitch deck. The deck kind of breaks down the white paper very in a nice condensed way, and I'm going to post that on the socials. I'm going to post that on the OSIS website for all of y'all to go and check out and to learn more about what I'm talking about, learn why that what's going on right now is so like unimportant and minuscule. It's a little ant on the surface of the world of how small this is compared to what is happening in the big picture, the move that we're all a part of right now, which is the tokenization of the entire world and global economy. Tokenization is said to be a $500 trillion plus move. The entire global like asset world right now is less than $100 trillion. We're talking about adding 500 trillion to that in a very short period of time. And that's happening with things like the old school real estate industry, housing market, all around the world suddenly being on the internet like the stock market. Things like that are happening where sports teams and homes and intellectual property and individual people's assets, the same concept as I told you guys about Shopify taking regular people and creating like e-commerce business all over the internet, creating a multi-billion dollar, $1 trillion market. That same thing is happening at an incredibly big scale, and it's going to be the biggest wealth transfer in all human history, guys. We're looking at a 6x of the entire global economy in like our lifetimes in the next 10, 20 years. How can an ant, this little market crash, OSIS price goes down a little bit, how can that mean anything against this big picture? This is why I'm saying, guys, read the white paper, learn what the heck is going on and what we're looking forward to. And you're going to be like, oh, okay, this is no big deal. This is like a pimple on my cheek. I'm going to pop it and we're going to be moving on with life. It's going to be a little bit red, whatever. That's how I feel about that. But hey, okay, I'm done for today. I'm going to get off and I'm going to eat dinner and I'm going to get ready for Monday because we are flying out to Dubai. So many people have invited us. We are literally the moment we land, we're going to sleep, wake up a few hours later, and we're going to be in a private yacht party with like hundreds of VCs, private investors, funds, and these major companies that we're probably going to partner with and make some allies. And we're going to be doing that every single day. Meet some heavy hitters. I'm meeting, actually, I can't tell you guys just yet. It's a secret because it's part of the announcements that are coming up. Someone asked about marketing and stuff. It's going to be huge. But meeting a lot of people, the whole world is coming to Dubai, including us. OSIS is coming to Dubai too, to the conference, to Token 2049. And we are going to make crazy partnerships. We're going to make a lot of allies and we're going to meet investors and all kinds of different things. So wish us luck, get educated, join the Discord, have a conversation with each other so that you get educated. You know what OSIS is about, what I'm talking about, what the market is doing, what the world is going to be doing very soon. And so you are in a position to be educated when you make your decisions, informed decisions. When you buy and invest into stuff, do your research first. Do your own research, okay? So thank you all for being with me here today. I will speak to you soon.